So how can you be intentional about, loving your work or, you know, creating work that you love? Basically, the way you do it is you want to create work that has four elements. Laura in her book calls this creating a perfect position. You want to create work that has four elements. First thing is that you enjoy it because you're good at it, because it involves your unique strengths. So you're willing to do it without a potential of external rewards. If you look at the current modern day economy, a lot of people that are content creators, many of them did not necessarily have an intention of making that a source of income. It was just something fun they were doing and they were sharing with people. And then it began to attract attention and then it began to generate revenue. So if you find things you can do that involve your unique strengths and you're willing to do it without potential of external reward, that is one way you can be intentional about creating your own perfect position. Alex Hormozi, in one of his videos, talks about the fact that the person who wins is the person who can consistently do something for the longest without necessarily looking for a reward. Because if you are that way, then nothing can really shut you down or turn you off. You're just going to keep doing it consistently, and eventually it will pay off. Right. So that's the first thing. Create work that has this four element. Work that you enjoy is number one. Um, Work that you have some control over in terms of how you do it. Have you ever been in that situation where you had a task to do, but you had a supervisor or a boss who was trying to tell you exactly how to get it done? Obviously, that's an untrained supervisor or boss, because as a boss, one of the things I learned very early was to give people a goal, a task to get done, and then let them figure out exactly how to get it done with some guidance from afar. But they can come with their own unique ideas and approaches to solving the problem that you probably would never have thought of. Right. So usually when people are in that situation and they have that level of control, it makes them feel like they are creating that position for themselves. So they own it more. Right. So work that you have some control over, you are the one that deciding when you're going to work, how you're going to work. That's going to help you be more intentional. That's part of creating your own position. Then you want the work to be a bit hard. In other words, it's going to stretch you. And it's a kind of work that provides regular opportunities to enter into a state where you're so immersed in the activities that you're doing that you lose track of time. I know you probably had that experience where you're doing something that you got so lost. I've had that happen to me. I remember one time I was trying to fix a problem with data transmission from a remote location. And then we tried throughout the week, it wasn't done. I went to work on a Saturday, got to the office, the center, I was there alone. And I got so engrossed in work, I knelt down actually at the computer trying to decode what the issue was. And I think it got started about 7 a.m. And I was so caught up in trying to do this. When I looked up, I finally fixed the problem. When I looked up, it was 7 p.m. So I was in flow for 12 hours. I just totally lost track of time. The reason that happened was because the work was hard, and it was work that I really enjoyed. All right. So that's one thing that's going to help you create a perfect position for yourself and be intentional about that. The other thing is you want to be in a work environment that is supportive as much as you can control that. Okay. So once you know what it is in terms of these criteria about creating that perfect position for yourself, um, you can either find work that is like that or you can create it. Finding it is a lot easier, I believe, than creating it, because creating uh, your own unique position or perfect position that has all this criteria usually means starting your own business. Let's be real, not everyone can actually start or run a business. I know it's popular these days. People say that, oh, start your own business. But in reality, not everybody can. So you want to first of all see if you can find it, right? And then if you cannot, then you can create it. So if you're already in a position, what you can do is look at adjusting your current position, like figure out ways to make it align with your ideal as much as possible. You can frame your desire in a way that aligns with what your company's bottom line, your departmental bottom line is, and clearly show how you can still deliver. So, for example, if I look at when I worked corporate, what I did was I wanted to make sure I was home early and spend time with my kids. So, what I did was typically work starts at 7 and 8. I started resuming work at 6 a.m. because at 6, they're still in bed or getting ready for school. I'm already at my desk. It's quiet. I have an hour before people start coming in. I got a lot of work done. And then I would knock off at about 3 or 4. And I could do that because I'd actually spent the amount of time I required, 8 hours in the office. Typically, I would skip the lunch break, or if I took a break, maybe like 30 minutes. And then I would get down to work. Finished early, that way I could get things done at home and spend time with my family. Now, during the time I worked, I made sure it was clear that everybody that needed something to get to be done brought it to me on time. And many times I would proactively reach out to people and say, hey, look, I want to get this done. What is it that you need to get done today? What are the things we need to address? That way people got used to bringing work to me early. And because I always delivered results, like I saved the company millions of dollars with strategies I put in place, my supervisors were fine with me working those hours. So that's kind of how you can adjust your current position. There may be time constraint, but if you can show that you can still deliver your targets while aligning and adjusting, the work requirements to suit what you need, usually you can have what you want, right? So it's really important that you get a level of clarity. You can once you identify the perfect position for you based on what we talked about. If you don't want to start your own business, I typically don't recommend people jump into that straight off. Adjust your current position. And then as you work in that current position, you can then figure out, okay, if I were to start my own business that had these core elements, work I enjoy, I have control over, it's hard, but it pushes me enough, it's not too much, and it's in a supportive environment, you can then build it and then transition over time into that as well. Yeah.